I'm Geoff from GC2 Photo Club, and in this video I'm going to show you how to set and use full manual mode on your DSLR. If you haven't already seen our videos on aperture priority, shutter speed priority and ISO, I recommend that you view them first, as it will make this video easier to understand. Let's have a look at the camera. Here's how to set full manual mode on this Canon EOS 5D Mark II. You rotate this wheel here onto the setting M for full manual, and if you look in this window here, you can now see that the shutter speed and the aperture are displayed. You change your shutter speed by rotating this wheel here, and you change the aperture by rotating this wheel here. However, you have to set your power mode switch to the top position where this line is here. Now when you rotate the wheel, you can see that your aperture is changing. To set full manual mode on this Nikon D300, you have this mode button here that you press and hold and rotate this wheel here until you see M in your viewfinder. You can then change your aperture by rotating this wheel here, and your shutter speed by rotating this wheel here. If you viewed our videos on aperture priority, shutter speed priority and ISO, you will know that a combination of those three things sets the exposure for our photograph. Obviously, shutter speed controls how long the shutter's open for and the light is passed through your lens. Aperture controls the quantity of light or the amount of light that's passed through your lens, and ISO controls the sensitivity of the sensor on your camera. When you set aperture priority or shutter speed priority, the camera sets the exposure for you. Unlike that, full manual control does not do that for you. You have to set the exposure yourself. In order to obtain the correct settings for your exposure, you have to use either the camera's own built-in through the lens meter or use a separate handheld meter. Fortunately, this is very easy on a modern DSLR. If you look through your viewfinder, you will see an exposure level indicator. This is it on the right hand side here. This is also displayed on the LCD panel on the top of your camera. Many cameras have this feature along the bottom line here rather than along the side. You focus on the subject first and the exposure level indicator will be displayed. You then scroll your dial on the camera until the exposure level mark is in the correct place. This is usually the middle, called the standard exposure index. However, you might want to over or underexpose, in which case you scroll your wheel along until it was under or overexposed. You have now set the desired exposure, and you can check your aperture and shutter settings in the LCD screen. If you do use an external exposure meter to take your reading, just take your reading off the screen there and then set the settings on your camera using the scrolling wheels. You can now take your photograph and check in your LCD monitor on the back of your camera to see if your settings were correct and make any exposure compensation adjustments if you're not happy with the results. However, try not to spend too much time looking in your LCD screen, as you might miss a great shot. What I recommend you do is you go out on location, try to use full manual mode, have a practice, see if it works for you. Hope you found that tutorial useful. Please go to our website gc2photoclub.com for more videos and information. I'm Geoff from GC2 Photo Club. Hope to see you again soon.